Hey. Did you read those comments in the chat? Where are they? Oh no, not this again. No. You know, they've done us like
No, guys, we couldn't do that to you again. No, that was actually we have apologized live, but we will apologize again, guys. We didn't leave you deliberately last week in the chat there. We were that was an error on I guess Andrew, I don't want to put you throw you under the bus, buddy. I'll let you own up to it.
Yeah. Well, look. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was my mistake, and we were hoping, folks, to have a very, very good friend of ours join us live. Unfortunately, we got the notification and the news and the messages from Hoss earlier today, bro, that he couldn't join us, which is a bit of a bummer because we were certainly looking forward to him. But we'll talk about him though anyway, bro, and his video and what he's done in the Van Halen community for sure. But we are still, folks, Brad and I and Hoss are going to do something within the next couple of weeks, but it'll probably be in the weekends, in the morning, some stage. So,
yeah.
Again, if you're here and if you're watching on replay because you don't want to see Brad and I,
don't say it because everyone will just leave.
Well, look, I can understand why people would want to be hearing what Hoss has to say because he's a phenomenal guitar player, bro. But he is going to join us. He's going to be a co-host for the Van Halen birthday anniversary show that we are going to do in October because that's on a Saturday, bro. Remember? So we're going to stream all day. So he's going to be co-hosting that with us.
Yeah. No, that'll be great. And we do miss you, Hoss. We look forward to doing one of these shows with you very, very soon. We know it will happen. It's just we thought we might as well just jump on because of what happened last week with Andrew leaving everyone in the lurch. So we didn't want to do it again.
Well, you're right, bro. And we do again, folks. We've got to be very careful what we say here. But we are working on an extra special guest for the Van Halen show. So we'll let you know how that works out. We can't give any information other than please, everybody, cross your fingers and pray for our intentions. That our intentions come true, Brad.
Yes, we're sitting back idly waiting. So we'll let you know as soon as we know. We'll definitely let you know. John, yes, his birthday is on Australia Day, or 26. It's a celebration of his passing that we do in October. Yes, so
it's passing. Yeah, you're right, bro. I cocked that up. Yeah. His passing. Yeah. That's a big show for us.
Yeah, we'll do that annually.
That
Yes.
annually for 6 to 8 hours, bro. 3 time zones.
Yep. It'll be a great one. It'll be another great one. We'll try and get some good guests on that as well. We'll try and get a few people. I've got a few people in mind I'm going to hit up that are pretty big Van Halen fans and maybe link to the band themselves. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, and if you guys in the chat too want to pop on, let us know. You know, John, we expect John ZD351 to be on at some stage, but you know, Charmaine, if you ever want to jump on and talk about Eddie, the same for you too, Halen. If you want to pop on, we're going to be between 4 or 5 of the hosts will be streaming for 4 to 6 hours. So yeah, it's a good opportunity, bro. For and you know what, mate? When we've done that before in the past, it's been pretty bloody good, bro.
Oh, we've had some good ones. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, it's not a good reason to get online, Andrew, but you know, it's great the community comes together and we get to celebrate the life that was Eddie Van Halen, you know, and the people that come on share their love. They have some great stories. We've had some great guests. It's been really, really good, really good. So,
yeah. And outstanding, you know, and we've had a few laughs and, you know, we keep saying it. You know, the rock professor says it. Our friend John ZD351 has got some great sayings. You know, music is too important to take seriously. You know, and we all know the power of music, bro. And you know, one of the reasons why we do this, it's because of the music, bro. And that's it.
That's the only reason we do it, and it's the one constant thing we all think about from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed. Even while I'm dreaming, I'm thinking about music. Yeah.
The show that you led last week. I'm just checking, bro. We got some good views on that, bro. We got some good views.
Bonamassa. Yes. Great
hold
album.
on, bro.
Great.
Over 200 views.
Yeah, it hasn't even been a week. It's only been a few days, so that's pretty good. That's great. We're very grateful. Thank you very much for everyone who's checked it out.
And it was a good bit of fun too, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no,
what's your safe word? What's the safe word?
Yes.
I had to laugh, mate. I had to laugh because if you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen, you know, Brad's boudoir dungeon room. We put it on Instagram, and our very good friend Alan Garber replied back saying, "What's the safe word? Is it Marshall, Brad?"
Got it in one.
Oh, let's cross fingers and hope that he pops on the Eddie Van Halen show, bro. It's been a while since he's been on.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great to get him on. Failing that, we'll try and grab him on another Zoso show. I think we're overdue for one of those coming up too, Andrew. So there's plenty of content we can use and abuse Alan Garber on for that. 100%.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. Yes. Yes, we're live. Why? There's people saying we're not live here. Let me check. I've got my YouTube. No, we're on YouTube.
We're live.
I've got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we've got it open on my other window, so it's all good. And Andrew, we've got to push our subscription again. You know, if anyone is watching this and they're not subscribed, please subscribe because we've been sitting idle for a little bit. We're over 10K, but it'd be nice to get that up a little bit more, Andrew. So please share our channel if you haven't done so already. You tell your mates, tell your muso mates, and get them on. Get them, swing them over, and get them on board with the 5150 British Electric Blues show.
appreciate it, bro. Yeah, if you can do that, and also we do have a presence and post on Instagram as well, which is a really really cool place. So if you pop over to Instagram and follow Brad over there, Brad Cook Music, you can find Brad there, the Backdoor Man, the Rock Professor, Simon Williams 33. You can find him, and our friend John ZD351 is over there too. And I'll also attach some links to Hugh Caldwell's channel, to Brad's YouTube channel here on the description if you are watching on a replay. And as Brad said, if you can just help subscribe, because it's all about sharing. One of the interesting things, bro, that I'd like to talk to you about, bro, if that's okay, Van Halen obviously is a big part of our channel.
Yes.
Let's be fair, folks. When Brad and I decided to do a tribute show, I think that's what sort of gave us the idea that we were going to do something regularly, wasn't it? On Van Halen, and some of the views and some of the comments and the support that we got from folks around the world, in particular, kind of gave us some big boosts, bro.
100%. And look, to be honest with you, the Van Halen community are very strong and they're very supportive. It's great to have everyone in that community sort of get on board with us, have subscribed and become members and be part of our chats, and other people that subscribed and part of our channel, Andrew, are doing other things, other channels, and they're still doing Van Halen stuff, which is great. We've had people come on from other channels, being guests. It's been fantastic, Andrew. It's really helped with the community growth and development of Van Halen, what's happening out there, and a better understanding and keeping the Van Halen flag flying, I guess, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And thank you, Halen, for supporting the channel with your super chat. Really appreciate that. It's something that we don't ask that you guys do, but when you guys go out of your way to do that, to support our channel that way, we always appreciate it. So thank you, Halen. And, thanks for coming back too. I know if you're close to Halen, folks, you'll know that she's had family, family things that sort of kept her away, and now she's back and supporting the channel by being in the chat. So thanks, Halen. It's always good to see the old veterans pop in that haven't been here for a while, Brad.
We love it. It's good to see familiar faces in the chat and people join us again. So, and I understand life gets in the way, Andrew. You know what it's like. Gee, we both know what that's like.
Well, that's it's a big thing, obviously, and family is important, and no one's ever going to deny that. But I like, bro. Thank you very much, for mentioning the support that we got in the Van Halen community. Because we've had some great guests on. We've got John Conklin, who's part of the Van Halen family, and Jimmy, and we've had Alan Garber come on, and support us. And we've had some great guests. We've had John Sanders, the American guy who lives in your part of the world. Yes. Pop on. So, it's been fantastic, bro.
Yeah. Oh, we've had plenty of great guests on. But talking about families, Andrew, I don't want to deviate too much, but I'm really excited about this new book by Alex Van Halen called Brothers. So I just thought that might be a good segue onto that. I just want to quickly talk about that. It's been really exciting to hear something a little bit fresh come out, that little sample of music that came out on his Instagram, unfinished or whatever it's been named. And I'm really looking forward to hearing, that in its entirety. But please, Alex, give us some more unfinished stuff. That's, it's just great to hear something new by Van Halen that's not been played before. And it does sound like to me it's recorded around that time of Van Halen 3 because it's got the sustainer. Eddie's using the sustainer on the guitar, and it's got that drum sound from that era, Andrew, that Van Halen 3 era. So I'm really hoping that Alex, I know you're going to watch this later on. really, really hoping that we hear some more stuff come out. I mean, I'm grateful to hear whatever new material we can get.
Thank you, bro. I am concentrating on what you're saying, but I'm also reading what's in the chat. So I'm defending what I said about I'm not saying people are old because we're young at heart here. Everybody that's attached to what we do is young, but I meant veterans, and now I've got John ZD351 giving me grief.
No, he's not saying old as in like walking stick kind of old. I think he's talking about people that have been in the chat for a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's see back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's exactly what I meant.
I love Johnny Heartbreaker's comment there. The Van Halen community is certainly not fickle in their opinions. Well, I know what you're sort of getting at there. I understand that. Yeah, they're certainly a very opinionated community, but that's okay. It's always good to have good opinions of things, and let's be honest. It keeps. What's the old story, Andrew? What's the old saying? Any press is good press. So it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, or if people are talking bad rubbish about Van Halen. At least Van Halen's been spoken about, I guess. So
look, I think you're right, bro, and yeah, you're right, and I don't think it's the Van Halen community is as nasty as it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
On a lot of these Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm being serious, folks. When we started doing these Van Halen shows, we were really, really lucky. We had Brad, myself, and Hoss as an example, who loved all the eras of Van Halen. Brad and I were lucky enough to see the Van Halen version that had Gary Sharon. So we went to that gig to see Eddie. He was the main man. So, and walked away on cloud nine. So
Yes.
so we were kind of like smack in the middle, and never really sort of entertained or supported or encouraged the different camps that Van Halen fans kind of occupy, bro.
Yeah, I think we've always been pretty good on this channel, being very neutral in that sense. But I do agree that we're all pretty neutral with whatever era it is. It doesn't really matter. It's all Eddie's music, and now in hindsight and retrospectively as well, since Ed passed, I think there's a whole new outlook on Van Halen's music to me, and I'm sure the rest of the community feels the same. That it's looking back retrospectively at say Van Halen 3 that copped a lot of grief. I mean, it's still a pretty good album, and there's some really good stuff on there. Obviously, we know there's opinions. Great to get it remixed, remastered, whatever. Maybe that will happen, Andrew. Maybe a better mix of that will come out. That was a fairly fresh, album. They didn't really even tour the material. They would never tour as a band with Gary at that point. So it's a bit green maybe to release a record, but that's just how they used to do it in those days, Andrew. They'd release a record and then tour.
Yeah.
So and I'm assuming what I was talking about before, the unfinished snip of music on Alex's Instagram that he's posted that will be on the audio version of his book, Brothers. It sounds like it's from that Van Halen 3 era to me, Andrew. It's got the sustainer on the guitar. It's got that real Van Halen Eddie sound. It's from that era, but it's also got Alex's snare is very much that sound from that Van Halen 3 era to me. That snare sound he's got. So
Yeah, I look, I agree, bro, and I think it's exciting and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think when you and I mentioned it once, I think when we were doing a show with the Rock Professor, I can't quite remember what you said, bro, but I think I said something like, "I'm pretty sure we're going to get some music. It just won't be the book. Maybe it was something that we did with John Conklin. I don't know, because I haven't watched other Van Halen channels to see what a lot of other people are saying, but." I reckon we're not just going to get the book, bro. We're going to get some music. Music is going to be dropped, if not the same day or week with the book. It's going to be within weeks.
Oh, let's just cross our fingers and pray that we get that, Andrew, because I've got to say I was really excited because I just woke up. My alarm went off and there was a message there from someone. I think it was Mikey Mojo, actually. It said, "Oh, check this out," and I played it, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's what a beautiful way to wake up and hear that beautiful piece of music." It was great. So yeah, and talking about Van Halen, this Live Without a Net celebration. I mean, we need to at least acknowledge that Live Without a Net came out. It's the anniversary of it, Andrew, and it's played a really heavy part in all of our lives because, like we have both said in the past, Andrew, we never actually got to see Van Halen live in that era. So that was all we had here in Australia, and I'm sure you were the same, Andrew. We didn't have Van Halen touring around like the Americans did, and I was very envious of the Americans at that particular time. So to get Live Without a Net and watching it was just like watching the rebirth of Van Halen after 1984. What happened with Dave, and then Sammy joined, and you could just see how much fun and how much love and admiration they all had for each other. It was a wonderful time for the band, and just watching that again. I mean, I watched it on and off, like while I was doing things. I had it going, Andrew, just before. On Sunday and Monday night sort of thing. I'd cross a bit on Sunday, bit on Monday, just while I was doing things. And I was just going, wow, this is fantastic. I haven't watched this for about 12 months or more. I was just blown away again. It's just amazing. I used to watch it, that and Right Here, Right Now. I used to watch them religiously weekly, Andrew.
I agree.
You used to have them on all the bloody time. And it was just so cool to listen to it again, and the guitar solo that Hoss obviously, jumped on and did note for note amazingly well. You would not know that it's not Ed playing, and I have to ask Hoss next time we speak to him, Andrew, has he been flagged for that? Because it's so close to the actual playing and sound of Ed. It does sound like Ed.
So Hoss didn't. He's not monetized on that video. So
Right.
so it's basically a celebration from him for that piece. But getting back to what you said though, bro, about that VHS, because that's what it was. We're that old, folks. It was never. It was this thing here, the DVD, is a recent thing, and unfortunately, bro, it's not available on a streaming service, so you can't stream it. It's the only way that you can get to watch this is either on YouTube clips where people have got it, or DVD, or your VHS, bro. But we've spoken about this many times. Watching it. I never forget the first time I saw it with a couple of friends and our girlfriends at the time, and we were just in awe of it, and the good times that band had, and how it projected back in our lives back, what, 86, 87, long time ago, bro.
86, yeah. Like I was in I was in, I wasn't even in high school, and it came out. And when I was in high school, I was watching it a lot, and getting into the sound of what I call the Sammy era. I was getting into that, and I was really like you, Andrew. I remember we used to talk about this when we did the rankings of the tracks with 5150 and OU812 and all those albums of Sammy era. At first, I had no idea it was a different singer because there was no video. I didn't understand that they had a new singer. I thought, wow, this guy sounds amazing now. Like, I'm not knocking Dave. He just didn't sound like he had that voice, and all of a sudden this voice was coming out. I was like, oh, okay. But I was young, obviously naive, and we didn't have a lot of information. There was no internet. There was nothing. So you just sort of went by, and all of a sudden the live footage come out, and you go, hang on, that's a different bloke singing. But it really didn't dawn on me when I was first listening to 5150 until Live Without a Net came out, Andrew. To be honest with you, it was like that was when I realized it's a different singer. It's not the same singer. I know it sounds a bit
and a lot of guys,
yeah,
a lot of guys went through that were a little bit younger than me. What Brad was explaining. So yeah, it's easy to understand and see, and then it goes on, doesn't it, bro? It goes on to become a cult classic.
yes.
Now, and and here we are talking about it. And as you said, our friend Hoss just does a wonderful solo, bro.
Well, I mean that's what I mean. I was watching the actual DVD of it the other night, and when that came on, I just stopped in my tracks to really focus on it because I thought, man, I've heard this a million times, but I think I've heard Hoss's in the last year more than the Live Without a Net version. I thought I better check it just to make sure. And again, like John said in the chat here, you wouldn't know, that it's so good. You think he's miming. So that's what I was watching it going, hang on, I'm going to have to go watch back Hoss's one now and see if there is a difference there. And I must one day try and line them up and play them both at the same time. But it's so damn close, you wouldn't know it's not Ed playing what Hoss has done. So, Simon, if you ever watch this, you're remarkable, my friend. Such an amazing player. And, mate, I don't think there's anyone else that could have done it in the world as perfectly as you have. And that's a big thing, bold statement to say, Andrew, but wow. I mean, that's something phenomenal what he's done there. I was trying to explain it to my partner. I said it's like trying to reproduce a Picasso or a famous painting. You know what I mean? Like and actually doing it. Not just doing your own interpretation of it. Actually getting the brush strokes right and everything. Like the finer moments of the solo is nailed. The timing, everything. It's unbelievable. I know he would have put a ton of work into that, but Andrew, I'd have to say a lot of it was probably embedded in his brain from the amount of times he's watched Live Without a Net.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, bro, and I think that's exactly. So if you want a good example of somebody that learnt the whole solo from that video footage, Simon Hosford is one of them. Well, one of the great things about Simon too, and we were, we're very close to Simon, guys, and we've got a lot of videos on the channel here to prove that. And one of the great things about Simon is the humility that the guy has, and it comes through on his video, bro, too. Have you noticed that? So, I've watched it a dozen times, and you're watching a guy that's playing, and it's just about the music. It's not like, look at me. That some videos you watch, folks, on YouTube, let's be fair, it's about look at me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. But with Hoss, it's not that.
It's about the influence. You can see it seeping through his face, the joy of the music that he loves. It's got nothing to do with him. But that's a whole nother topic too. We could talk about for hours about Hoss because he's such a sweetheart of a guy and he's a top bloke. So, I know he's a very, very busy man, but I know, when it comes down to it, he's very humble and very, you know, he knows his ability, but it's not like he's holding that, you know, it's not like a persona he's putting on. He's actually keeping his cards close to his chest a lot of the time. Andrew, the cheeky bugger, you know what I mean? Because he can,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, 100%. Bro, we haven't done a shout out yet, but I just want to do a special shout out to Paulie Walnuts in the chat, our good friend from the States, who is a good friend, and we speak to him, and we need to get Paulie on a show too. So Paulie, we're going to be doing a celebration on Eddie's anniversary here. We'll be streaming on our channel here for about 6 hours or 8 hours, Paulie. So I'll flick you an invite. It'll be on a Saturday here for us, which will be a Friday night for you. So it should be a good opportunity for you, bro, to pop on. And I think you've been on our channel. I think you've been on once before. I think you've come on that show, or if it hasn't been that, you've been on our Christmas show. So you know how to do it. But getting back to Hosbro, you know, and the humility that he has, you know, we've seen that too when he did the Melbourne show. Remember that, folks? So we're talking about a guy and a band, and we've had Jerry. He's been on our show. The drummer. It is Jerry. It is Jerry. Yeah. The drummer and also the bass player.
It's all right, Andrew. I can't remember anyone's names at the best of times. So
I'll come back when Brad's talking. The bass player. Oh gosh, has been on our show too, and
Jason, the bass.
Jason, that's it. Thank you, John. Jason, the bass player, is just phenomenal. And bro, so they play Van Halen one era.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously Hoss does his tribute show at the. Remember, he did that at a gig in Melbourne, and then he just switches into playing the Sammy era stuff easily, bro.
Seamlessly. But that's a really good point you brought up there, Andrew. But I also want to sort of maybe take that train of thought down a certain path. That just goes to show that maybe Hoss would be better to give us an answer to this question. But maybe that's a really good point. Ed's playing and music and that was just progressively changing through each album, and we categorize Dave era, Sammy era, Gary era, but maybe realistically there's not that much of a transition. It's just more Ed evolving as the musician throughout his career. It doesn't matter who his singer is, he's just changing as a musician. We know on 1984 he started writing stuff with keyboards, you know, and introducing that into the band, and Dave thought that was no, you're a guitar player, you know, you shouldn't be playing keyboards, but you know, brought that keyboard element in with Sammy, and it took it a whole nother, you know, dimension, and opened up the sound of the band even more to you know, where you get to albums like Balance, Not Enough, and things like that with piano and all these amazing things that Ed did, you know. And maybe that's a question we can ask us next time we got him on, how he found the transition between doing early Van Halen stuff to like 5150 era, maybe, you know what I mean, with Sammy era, and see what his thoughts on that are, Andrew, because that's a really interesting topic altogether, I think.
Oh yeah, and he's more than qualified enough, bro, to offer some insight into how that goes. Do you remember, bro? I think we asked him a while ago. I think we asked, you know, about whether or not he was going to. I think he was talking about how he was going to write something, whether it was going to be on a blog, or if people still do blogs, or an article about exactly what you're talking about, from a guitarist's, from a musician, and from a producer's point of view, which is exactly what Hoss is, that transition and the development of Eddie. I'm sure he was thinking of doing something like that. He was going to, do something like that from. So yeah, we need to chuck that question out to him to see how that's going, and if he is doing something like that, because he's clearly the guy, that's from this part of the world anyway, more than qualified enough to do it.
No, 100%. I think it's amazing. I could just imagine Hoss would be the type of bloke that um, if he did something like that, it would be all completely and utterly from a love perspective of how he feels about Ed, and that would be it wouldn't be a biased one, but he would be just basically talking about it from a love perspective. I'm talking about it, and I think that's the beautiful thing about Hoss. He would talk about it because he loves Ed's playing so much that he has the utmost respect for it. So yeah, I think we'd love to hear what Hoss has to say about that. 100%.
And
Yeah.
good point. It's a good point, and I just want to make one more point about our conversation about Hoss and his contribution. Remember when he came on? He first came on the show, and we were talking to him about that Melbourne gig,
Yeah.
and we were blown away by it. Remember, and you and I were talking about it, and I said, "Man, do you know this dude? Do you know this cat?" And you said, "Yeah, I know this dude." And I was like, "What? Really? You know this guy?" And it's and then it was only like a couple of weeks later he was on. It was like, and we're kind of awestruck, being around this dude.
I watched.
But
I watched. I was at that Melbourne guitar show
yeah,
that he did that. I went along because I was like, I knew Hoss on the scene. I knew him. I'd maybe even spoken to him once or twice at gigs, but nothing like to the point of like, oh, g'day, buddy, and get to know him sort of thing. But when I watched that, I was like, oh, let's just see, if this guy can do this, like, is he going to pull this off? And I must admit, by the second or third sort of note, I knew that he had it in the bag. I knew that it was going to be an amazing show. And so that was amazing. And obviously going to the corner show to watch him do his celebration event there, that was, for me, I couldn't enjoy it like, say, John ZD351 did, because he was out in the crowd and I was side of stage. I think that was not long after I've had my medical stuff, my health scare stuff. And I was side of stage and it sounded phenomenal there, but I could only imagine what it would have been like out the front there. It would have sounded incredible. But I was gleaming from the side with pride just because I know this guy that's doing this stuff, and I was thinking, this is remarkable. This is something that I don't think you'll see anyone do as good as this ever. That's what I knew, that exactly what I was thinking that at the time, Andrew. I was thinking, how blessed are we to be standing here watching this guy reproduce his stuff like so close? You know what I mean?
yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember one question we asked him, on that first show that he came on. I remember we asked him, what did he think about Eddie from a musician's perspective, from Van Halen 1 to Balance? That whole, and do you remember? And we should go back and have a look and maybe timestamp that. But he said something like a completely different musician. And we really dug that, because Hoss was giving us the perspective that it was almost like Eddie had achieved some alpine level status on Balance, and we were digging that because that's where I was coming from in my mind when I heard the progression of the albums, this guy getting better and better, and to hear Hoss agree and say undoubtedly so that was a fact, kind of blew you and I away.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, look, and back to the Live Without Net thing. I know he lived and breathed that when it came out, and that in saying that, maybe Hoss has got something in the background we don't know about. Maybe he's putting together a Live Without a Net tribute show. Who knows? he might do a show where they do all the songs off the DVD. You don't know. Who knows what he's up to? You know, he's like that. Like I said, he keeps his cards close to his chest, and before you know it, he'll come out and announce something like, "Oh my God, he's doing that! Wow, what's going on there?" So, yeah.
Check that comment out from John. I saw him play at a local gig, and he could have just said a polite hello, and he could have. Yeah, hi,
Yeah.
how's it going, man? Yeah, and carried on. But he gave me a hug and had a chat.
Yeah,
He's a genuine bloke, and not a hint of stompishness or attitude from him.
100%. And I know even at the corner show, I know he was probably before the show going up. I know he's probably starting to feel a bit of pressure, but he still kept up that sort of attitude and towards everyone there, like showing them so much politeness, kindness, and love. You know, so that's a sign of not only a professional that can do that, but a really genuinely nice guy. You know. 100% could be a complete and utter, what do you call it, snob, but he's not.
No,
Yeah.
no, and so we've definitely going to do something with Hoss. I promise you, folks. And
yeah, we don't want to talk too much about Live Without a Net without Hoss here, because
no,
the whole reason we were going to do this show with Hoss to celebrate, you know, Live Without a Net was to actually have Hoss here to discuss his solo, and then obviously talk about Live Without a Net without a doubt. You know, that was something. So I don't want to spoil it, so we won't talk too much more about Live Without a Net at the moment.
Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll definitely get him on, and if it's not between now and the anniversary of Eddie's passing, it will definitely be. You know, he'll definitely be on that show. He's confirmed that. So the book, Alex's book, bro. So, you know, we've spoken about that a couple of times, and you've mentioned it a little bit earlier today. You know, that's not far away. So I gather a lot of that show, anniversary show that we do for that 6-8 hour stream, a lot of that will be talking about that book, because it should be released that day.
Comes out 22nd of the 10th. That's my understanding, I think. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, hopefully by then we'll have all had a chance to, you know, get our heads around it at least, and maybe have a read. Or I'm definitely keen to hear the audio version of it now, because I believe it's out. Is it? Am I correct in saying that it's actually Alex reading it, or?
I hope it's Alex reading the whole thing from. I haven't had that confirmed, so if anybody in the chat can confirm that, because there's been some audiobooks that I've bought, like, for example, the Keith Richards biography or audio book. Only about 5 minutes of it is read by Keith Richards, you know, and then they get a professional quote unquote book reader to narrate it. So it'll be interesting to see if Alex, you're right, bro, narrates the whole book.
Yeah, that would be pretty heartfelt too, to actually hear that. So I'm guessing the book, you know, being the title Brothers, is going to be the ups and downs through their childhood, and the ups and downs through their, you know, career together until the end, basically, of Ed passing. So I'm sure it's going to be a moving book. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
Right, I got a couple of questions then I want to chuck at you and folks in the chat regarding this. And, you know, do you expect, and the questions for everyone in the chat too, do you expect anything new from Alex in the biography?
Any goss I'm talking about?
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I couldn't understand why he just keep. I mean, obviously he's going to have to talk about their history a lot, you know, their childhood, but there'll be a lot. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that he will put in the book that's never actually been spoken about, Andrew, but that only the brothers know about, I'd say, and his family would have known about at the time. But I'm pretty sure we are going to hear a lot of cool stories from their childhood, and a lot of cool stories throughout their career. as Van Halen. The ups and downs, the support that they gave each other. I'm guessing it will be a little bit to do with that as well, Andrew. I'm hoping that it won't be too much. Being a book about brothers, I just hope it's let's just leave it at that. I hope it's all about the brothers and the love he had for his brother. That's what I'm hoping it is. Obviously, there's a lot of ups and downs in that camp. You know what I mean? So hopefully, it's done respectfully, and that's what I'm praying for anyway. That we get a really cool, respectful book about their relationship together. And in any relationship, Andrew, there's always ups and downs, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I've read, like a lot of us, we've read a lot of biographies and music biographies over the years. And I think Brad's hit the nail on the head. It's going to be obviously about the brothers and the other people that have made up the component parts of Van Halen will be discussed as they are component parts. It won't be like a biography, explaining all the intricate details and histories of the component parts that made up the band. For example, Brad and I were talking before we went live, and I don't expect Alex to be doing a rebuttal to to Sammy about what Sammy said about the brothers and the band in his biography. I don't expect that to be a chapter of his book, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Can I be brutally honest, Andrew? And we keep it amongst all of us here.
Yeah, please do.
I'll be very disappointed if he goes down that path.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your honesty, bro. That's why I love you.
Because I'd rather it just stayed, about his love for his brother, the ups and downs. Yep. He can go through the ups and downs and things like that, but not lash out and a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, and let's just hope that it's respectful to his brother, his late brother, and his family. And obviously he's written a book and the title of it's Brothers, so let's just pray it's all about their ups and downs in life. Yep. And what made them the musicians they were and what made them the people they are, and to this day what Ed meant to him. That's what I'm hoping. We're obviously going to get some real gem stories out of him that no one's ever heard before, but that relate to their brotherhood. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
I think we're going to get that. It'll be good. We'll get some stories about their childhood and growing up, and we'll get Alex talking about how they swapped instruments. How doing paper runs, and and then Alex playing the drums while Eddie was doing the paper run to play for the It'd be nice to hear those kind of stories. But one point that I want to back up where Brad is going with his desire and hope with the book. We've all seen this video, and it was a classic video where Eddie and Alex are being interviewed by a Dutch TV host, and both the brothers, and it's early on in the career, it's in the 70s, and both the brothers are replying, talking back in Dutch, and Eddie is playing his Frankenstrat, playing it acoustically. And you and I have mentioned this a few times, and you see Alex, and Alex has got this big smile on his face, bro, and he's watching his brother play, and he's doing his licks. And
that's in Spanish Fly, and his brother's just looking at him with so much pride, like that's
my brother.
Yeah, and I hope that's what the way he presents it, and I'm sure it will be, but I'll be disappointed if he goes bashing other people in a book about his brother. Maybe if he wants to do that, do it in a different book, Don't do it one that's all meant to be about your brotherhood, you know what I mean? So
well, John's going to talk about the dirt about you and I in his book, bro, so
bastard. Oh god. Hey, listen, we'll pay him off, Andrew. What do you reckon? We'll pay him off. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let's really hope that after this book release, maybe once it's done and dusted and everything's out, and let's just pray that they can all shake hands and be mates again. Like they've had a long-standing career together, all of them, with Mikey, Sammy. They like just they're not getting any younger, Andrew, and it's like really just the in life we're meant to forgive and move on and share kindness and love towards people, and hopefully that once his book's out and stuff like that, maybe I'm not saying that they perform together ever again or anything like that, but just at least be on talking terms and respect each other and a bit of kindness towards each other again. That'd be
Yeah,
lovely.
I don't think they'll tour again. This book will be it. This is
Yeah,
where I'm going to. This will be it as far as Alex is concerned. This will be the chapter.
yeah,
Bang, done. He'll offer the book, and just interesting talking about. You mentioned Sammy before, so earlier today, Sammy put a post up on his Instagram, bro, talking about his tour and the amount of people that went out and saw that tour, bro. And we were lucky. Remember, we had Mikey Mojo come on and tell us about it. Go and check that video out, folks. Here. And the support. And, Sammy said that, he sang 24 songs, bro, every night. His voice held out, the body held out. Man, he's raring to go, bro. He wants to go to Europe.
yeah. Well, he's going to Japan, and Japan's not far away from Australia, Sammy. So I'm sure. Hey, listen, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm sure if Joe's busy, he might be able to get Hoss on board. Through Australia. Anyway, look, just throw that out there. But Andrew,
Yeah.
the question you asked me about it, what do you think? I mean, that was what I was going to ask you. What do you think? Do you think that he's going to go bashing people in this book, or do
No.
you think?
No.
Yeah.
No. And pretty much for exactly the same reasons that you said, bro. It's going to be about their brothers. It's going to be, I think Alex is going to talk a lot about their mum and dad. I think he's going to make that quite clear. A lot hasn't been written about his mum. We have a little bit about his dad, and some of those photos, that they've been sort of pushing a little bit, of Alex and Eddie around. So I think we're going to get a lot about how their mum supported them, and that's going to be really cool too.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Actually, it'd be lovely to because he's got they had a unique childhood too. You know what I mean? They came to America and they couldn't even speak English really. So one of those things of a childhood like that's a lot different to someone who's born and raised in a country with parents from that country. It's a complete opposite when you go to America, and we know that little piece of history. But it'd be great for them to dive more into that and hear a lot about that. But I'm really looking forward to hearing about the years of getting Van Halen up and running and getting to that point of maybe their first record. That's what I'm really looking forward to. The slugging it out in the vans, between gigs and sleeping in the van instead of having accommodation because you haven't got the money to pay for it and no one's putting up. Things like that. I mean, they're the things that, everyday musicians go through. Like I've been through it. I toured around Australia for 3 years it started off in a van, then a four-wheel drive trailer, then a 22-seater bus, and we're all sleeping on the bus because we couldn't get accommodation, and sometimes the venue wouldn't put you up. So you're roughing it, and they're the things that make or break a musician, and they're the things that I'd love to hear about that era, and then getting the band off into the venues and getting the recognition and how those brothers stuck together. I mean, you see them on stage and how they play together, Andrew. They were like that. They were one. They were two people as one. You know what I mean? You see them performing and they're so tight together. Their timing was impeccable together. They knew each other so well. So it's like Ed knew Alex's timing and Alex knew Ed's timing. That's what I'm getting at. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their own tempo and time like clock in their body, I think. And that's why someone like John Bonham, for example, had a certain style of drumming. because his inner clock would work that way. That's what he pictured. He'd always be either behind the beat or pushing the beat, but he had his own way of playing it that most drummers didn't really think that way. You know what I mean?
Sammy Hagar
Yeah.
said it many times. He said I saw Eddie play guitar many times, and I saw him play with other drummers. But when Eddie played with Alex, he was a different guitar player.
And really that dynamic, Ed and Alex were like a rhythm section.
Yeah.
Most bass players and drummers play together like a rhythm section, and the guitar player dives into the rhythm section and comes out, dives in and out. But Ed was pretty much part of the rhythm section, but maybe even more so than Mikey. I'll say it.
Yeah. I want to hear those stories too. I want to hear Alex say, how his dad would come home and they'd have some beers when they were young, 14 or 15. They'd be having some beers and they'd be having a cigarette with the old man and they're playing, Yeah, here's sons. Yeah, here's some beer, here's some ciggies, and they'll play. It's like, okay, Dad.
I reckon there's probably a few funny stories that will come to the surface about getting the belt for playing too loud. The belt had come off, whack,
I think it'd be a belt for not playing loud enough, bro.
Yeah, well. Anyway, look, I think we're in for a treat. I really hope that's what the book's about. I'm sure it will be. Let's just wait and see. Yeah.
Well, look, bro, I'm looking at the time. We've been here live for an hour. Time flies, bro. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you, but I know that you've got some things to do, and we thought that we would pop on and be here with you fine folks for an hour. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you, Halen, for the super sub chat.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, and we'll be back with the Rock Professor doing the debut George Thorogood and the Destroyers, bro.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. I've been listening to it. I haven't started my notes or rankings yet, but I've been listening to it, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm 18 again at the Seabreeze Hotel in Sylvania in New South Wales drinking beer. I'm following it with
mate, I'm going to tell you one thing. One thing with this album, I'll tell you a little secret. So I've been listening to this album in preparation, and it's even though it was an album I was listening to really, really early on, it was never an album I associated with me wanting to play guitar. It was always about my friends. It was always about the social. This was one album that was always about my friends. It was never like, I've got to go home and grab my acoustic and try and learn that lick, Brad. It was never about that.
No, it wasn't. This album never did I want to pick up my guitar and play. It made me want to go to the pub and drink.
And chase.
And play pool.
Yeah.
Play pool,
Yeah, play pool. And play pool and be cool and all the good things in life. Are we out of here? Do you want to?
Yeah.
Have you got the chat up? Do you want to say goodbye?
I'm going to say hello to everyone just quickly. John ZD351, Simon Williams, Charmaine's there, Ellen, my mother. Thank you so much for joining us. Who else have we got here? We have. I saw a lot of people duck in here, which was Hugh Caldwell. Thank you, Hugh, for joining us. It was really cool to have you here. It's Johnny Heartbreaker. That's it. I was trying to think, who the hell was it? Johnny Heartbreaker. Thanks for joining us. Gretch Zeppelin. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you join us. Who else have we got here? Helen. Thank you so much for your super chat. Like Andrew was saying, we really appreciate it. We never expect it, and it's always a blessing to get those. Thank you so much. I was also one of your mates from America. What was his name? Paulie.
Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah, I haven't written these down, but thank you, Paulie. And I think at one point we had about 15 or 18 people watching. So if you didn't comment in the chat, we want to thank you for joining us anyway. And we want to thank our brother Hoss. You know, we're looking forward to joining you again, my friend. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you've got this far, please do us a favor and subscribe. If you're watching this on a replay, please subscribe, and please, if you are already a subscriber, share our channel. Let's get this channel rolling again. I've got a good feeling about getting between now and the end of this year, Andrew, getting our subscribers up. So thank you, everyone.
All right. We're out of here, bro.
We're off. Bye-bye.